What?
Step into the shadow of the Hell House, because this Halloween I'm paying tribute to a classic, Castlevania. This series started out as a homage to the classic horror stories of old, but over the years has evolved into one of the most beloved franchises in video games. These games usually feature great platforming, awesome music, and, I didn't forget them, some satisfying boss battles. So for this festivication, I'm giving you my top 15 favorite Castlevania boss battles. The major rule is that I have to have faced the boss at least once for me to put it on the list. So no bosses from Lords of Shadow because I haven't played it, or from the Castlevania 64 games because, let's face it, those games sucked anyway. And keep in mind, this is my opinion, so if yours is different, don't bitch about it. Also, there are massive spoilers on this list, so be warned. But enough talk! Have at you! Oh god. First entry and I already need the flame shield. Because I'm one of the few people who actually liked Castlevania Judgment. During the story mode, you're tasked with collecting the soul keys to open the door to whoever is threatening time itself. After you get the soul keys and defeat Aeon for a second time, that threat is revealed as the Time Reaper. This guy plays like a Versus series boss, attacking you with skulls, summoning dark flame pillars, and dark energy spheres, swinging his scythe, imprisoning you with chains, and later, blasting you with giant lasers from his hands and powerful explosions. It's a good fight, with some great music, and can be very challenging, especially on Brutal. But the reason he's number 15 is because of how random he is. I mean, he comes right the hell out of nowhere, and once he's defeated, no one ever mentions him again.
Being a delicate moment.
Our name is Legion, for we are many. Pretty much sums it up. Legion, which first appeared in Symphony of the Night as Granfaloon, is a very creative and equally disturbing boss. Seriously, its design is literally a ball of corpses around a central core with tentacles coming out of it. The idea is that you need to break its shell to get to the core. As this is happening, however, the bodies fall to the floor and get up to attack you. While this is happening, the core is attacking you with flames and lasers. So you need to destroy the core before you literally drown in a river of fetid, rotting flesh. Sound gross? It is. But that's what makes this boss memorable. Well, that and the fact that Konami spammed this boss in nearly every Metroidvania game. Now there's an obvious joke that I could make here, but I feel it would be in bad taste. As if the concept behind Legion didn't leave a bad enough taste in my mouth already! Back to Judgment. My favorite character in the game, hands down, is the exclusive character, Aeon. He's a guardian of time that wanders the ages, and yes, I know, he's not a boss. But there is a similar character who is. That would be Saint Germain from Curse of Darkness. He first appears to Hector early in the game to warn him about Isaac, and is later seen confronting the character Zed. However, you don't fight him until the Mouse Machine Tower. It's actually a good fight. Saint Germain will teleport around the room and attack you with sword combos. He's quick, but he leaves himself open while recovering. If he hits you while his sword is glowing green, you'll get poisoned, and he'll likely speed up time to speed up its effects. He can also stop time, which can be countered with a mage-type Innocent Devil. Later in the fight, he'll speed up time and cause vines to burrow around the area, and just when you think you've beaten him, he'll reverse time and regain a bar of health, but only once. He'll use the same attacks, but he'll also use his gun, which you need to dodge. He'll telegraph this, though, so if you're close enough, you'll get a chance to strike. This is a good fight with a memorable character. Just not as awesome as Aeon. While most of the memorable bosses in the series came in the Metroidvania-style games, the earlier games had some good ones as well. Which brings us to my favorite boss in Super Castlevania 4. Stage 6 is most remembered for those huge swinging chandeliers. However, for me, the other highlight is the number 12 boss on this list, the Dancing Specters. I don't care if you call them dumb, I like this boss anyway. What they do is move about the room while the background scrolls behind you, attack you with arrows that turn invisible, and lunge at you with their rapiers. Your best strategy is to move about the platforms in a figure-8 pattern, dodging their attacks along the way. This boss is one of the easier bosses in the game, but at the same time, I found it very enjoyable and memorable. I mean, you're fighting ballroom dancing ghosts for crying out loud. ABC, if you're watching this, do not let these ghouls on Dancing with the Stars! At number 11, we have my favorite boss from Dawn of Sorrow, the first of the DS games. Meet Dario Bossi, one of the Dark Lord candidates chosen by the game's villain, Celia. His power over fire seems formidable, but the fight with him is easy. Fast forward to when you reach him in the throne room, only this time he's been given the power of a fire demon, making him that much stronger. Only, he's not your target. By now you have the power to go through mirrors, and as fate would have it, there's a huge mirror right in the middle of the room. Go through it and you face your real opponent, Aguni. This boss really knows how to turn up the heat. He'll attack you with fire waves, slash at you with his claws, and do a flaming dive which creates large fire shockwaves. To beat this guy, you'll need to be ready to dodge quickly. It's not extremely hard, but a fight doesn't have to be hard to be good, like in this case. What puts Aguni on here is his intimidating design, and the fact that you're fighting him on the other side of a mirror. Of course, this fight might have gotten higher on the list if it wasn't for those fucking magical seals! WeDude83 went over Mindfuck the level in his top 15 Kid Icarus Uprising chapters. Well, this is Mindfuck the boss fight. In Symphony of the Night, there's an area that looks like a save point, except colored differently. When Alucard enters, he is transported to a nightmare where he is once again forced to witness the execution of his mother. Only, something isn't quite right.
You must despise humans. They are to be your prey.
No! You're not my mother! What kind of demon are you?
Alucard quickly sees through the attempted mindfuck and exposes the fake mother, who is revealed to be a succubus who challenges Alucard to battle. During the fight, the succubus will attack you with a spread of tentacles and create multiple illusions while attacking you with energy balls. These attacks are not that hard to avoid, and by the time you have the bat form you need to reach her, you should be able to beat her with little trouble. But like I said, a boss doesn't need to be hard to be good. I mean, the setup of this fight is definitely unique, and I'm surprised that it hasn't been done before or since in the series. I mean, this fight takes place in the backdrop of a nightmare. Then, of course, there's the matter of the cheesy-as-hell dialogue.
Wait, I beg of you!
Yeah. Number 9 is Shaft. No, not the New York detective who'd risk his neck for his brother, man. I'm talking about the dark priest who revived Dracula in Dracula X Rondo of Blood. This guy appears in Stage 6, and by stage, I pretty much mean boss rush. Seriously, he summons bosses from the original Castlevania to fight you. However, each one has new attacks. The giant bat attacks you with fireballs and will drill into the ground. Medusa will jump about and attack you with snakes, a petrifying eye beam, and a lashing tail. The mummy will extend its arms, launch bandages at you, and send blocks after you. And Frankenstein will punch you, bring down rocks from the ceiling with a thunderous jump, and throw lightning bolts at you. Then you fight Shaft himself. He attacks you using 2 magical orbs. These orbs will utilize fire, lightning, or just charge at you while Shaft teleports around the room. This fight is very challenging, but very satisfying, and a great nostalgic throwback to the first game. This is a boss rush done right from the company who invented the boss rush. Now, if only his encore in Symphony of the Night didn't completely suck! You know one thing I hate? Being betrayed. No! You know one thing I love? Getting even. Which brings us to Order of Ecclesia. Throughout the game, Shinoa is tasked by Barlowe to retrieve the stolen parts of the glyph Dominus, the alleged weapon against Dracula, that have been stolen by Albus. She gathers the pieces, rescues some missing villagers, confronts Albus, and learns the truth behind Dominus and why she mustn't use it. So Shinoa returns to Barlowe looking for answers and... You son of a bitch! Yep, Barlowe's been using you this whole time, and the fight that follows is all about payback. But don't expect it to be easy. He'll attack you by charging at you with lightning, blasting you with burning pages from his spellbook, and freezing the ground. And as his health gets lower, he'll attack you with a series of falcon punches while insulting you all the while.
Die, Shadow! How dare you! Even forgetting who raised you! You stupid disciple!
This fight has a lot going for it. A wide variety of attacks, a great setup, some awesome music, and once the fight is over, the truth is revealed. Turns out Barlowe wanted to revive Dracula, and even sacrifices himself to raise the castle. Barlowe, even in death, you're an asshole. Now you may be thinking, what do I think about the fight with Albus? Well... it's actually number 7 on this list. I put this fight above the one with Barlowe for a few reasons. First off, this fight is much more challenging. Albus will utilize all the basic elements in this fight. He'll attack you with a flaming windmill kick, and launch several attacks from his gun. These shots include an icicle spear, a ball of lightning, a dual shot of light and dark energy, and a blast of pure malice which Shinoa can actually absorb since it comes from a glyph. These attacks can come at you fast, especially the kick, and this makes for a tougher fight than the one with Barlowe. Second, the theme that plays here, entitled Sorrow's Distortion, is my favorite boss theme in the game. Also, before the fight, you see the toll that Dominus has taken on Albus. You see, Dominus was made from Dracula's very power, and by this point it's begun to consume him. There's a lot of emotion behind this fight, despite the fact that Shinoa has lost all of her emotions and memories. Of course, we later learn that it was because of Dominus and not Albus. Wow, I guess Albus really was a brother to Shinoa after all. It's kinda sad when you think about it. And he was definitely more of a brother to her than Jin was to Ragna. The Time Reaper came from 10,000 years in the future. You know who sent him? This guy, Galamoth. Apart from being the main villain in that Kid Dracula game for the Game Boy, he shows up as an optional boss in Symphony of the Night, and his stats are insane. This guy has 6,666 HP, second only to Dracula himself. He stands 2 screens tall, and his attacks can do some major damage if you don't have the right gear, even if you're well leveled. When he kneels forward, he'll launch a massive lightning bolt which can seriously hurt you if you don't have the barrel circlet. When he raises his staff, he'll launch orbs of dark energy at you. Also, he can attack you with the staff itself. Man, this fiend has quite the arsenal. That alone gets him on the list. And he gets even more credit for his background. According to the game's lore, he has been planning to seize the Throne of Darkness for himself. This is why he sent the Time Reaper to destroy Dracula's era. You know, he could have tried to do it himself. After all, depending on your setup, this guy could be the most difficult boss in the game. Or you could just be a cheap-ass noob. In the late 11th century, there was a man who lost his faith in God and rose in rebellion against him, becoming a fearsome vampire. He has been resurrected every 100 years, drawn by man's own wicked desires. He is the King of Vampires and the Lord of Darkness, Vlad Tepes Dracula. As the main antagonist of the entire franchise, he has taken many forms and provided many memorable battles. As to which one takes number 5, I'm going with the battle from Dracula X Chronicles. Granted, I don't own this game, but I have a coworker who does, so I have faced this battle. The first phase is standard Dracula fare. He'll teleport around the room and attack you with fireballs and dark energy spheres. Attack his hit to damage him, and eventually he'll become a winged demon to start phase 2. Here, he'll jump about hoping to crush you, and launch huge fireballs at you. Again, you need to attack the head until Dracula assumes his final form, and the gloves really come off. In this phase, Dracula will attack with fireballs, fire pillars, bloody slashes, spears and shockwaves, a wolf charge, a swarm of bats, and even a hydrostorm of blood. This is a very hard fight. You'll need to be at the top of your game to bring down Drac. Another reason this battle gets this high is due to the atmosphere. The throne room is imposing enough, but each phase just gets more and more messed up. And the arrangement of Dance of Illusions is just breathtaking. And it's so satisfying to finally finish off Dracula. Until he gets resurrected again. With all the attention that Dracula gets, there's another villain in the series who's had even more appearances. Dracula's right-hand, man, Death. This Reaper of Souls has appeared in all but 2 games in the series, and like Dracula, has given us some memorable battles. And at this point in the list, I think it's time to give Lament of Innocence its due. Now I know what you're thinking, why on God's green earth would I put this fight over freaking Dracula X Chronicles? The reason is that I find this fight less frustrating and more unique in terms of death battles. I meant battles with death! Anyway, after Leon Belmont's former friend Matthias reveals his true plans, he sends Death after you and the final battle of the game begins. Throughout the fight, Death will float around the edge of the arena, assaulting you with various attacks. These attacks include throwing his massive scythe at you, slashing you with it, blasting you with ectoplasm, and sending flaming skulls at you. Once he's down to his second health bar, he'll start unleashing his most powerful attack, which involves calling down fireballs that explode into pillars of flame and send out shockwaves as they crash into the ground. This is a challenging fight, since not only does he have more health than most bosses in the game, but he's impervious to sub-weapons. Also, the atmosphere is amazing in this fight, from the supernatural arena to the boss theme, entitled Evil's Symphonic Poem. Sheer awesome. But what else would you expect from... Oh yeah! Most fans of the Castlevania series think Symphony of the Night is the best game in the franchise. I, however, am not most fans. For me, it was the last of the Game Boy Advance games, Aria of Sorrow. This game has quite possibly the best story of any game in the series. The game takes place in the year 2035 in an era without Dracula. The main protagonist, Soma, goes to see a solar eclipse in Japan and somehow ends up sucked into Dracula's castle. As he explores the castle searching for answers, he runs into several interesting characters, including the witch Yoko Belnades, the army man turned merchant Hammer, and an amnesiac vampire hunter named Jay, who is later revealed to be Tulius Belmont, who brought down Dracula in 1999.
Oh, so that's why the Doomsday Prophecy didn't happen that year.
Eventually, Soma confronts the main antagonist, Graham, who believes himself to be Dracula's reincarnation, and after a tough fight, the biggest plot twist in the series shows its face. That's right, Soma is Dracula. After Soma learns of a way to save his soul, he returns to the Floating Gardens only to be stopped by none other than Julius, who says he has to kill Soma. Oh crap. We have to fight Julius now, don't we? At least this is a fight worthy of a Belmont. During the first phase of the fight, he'll attack you with his whip, dash around the room, and strike with both diving and sliding kicks, all of which can do quite a bit of damage. Once enough damage is done, he'll unleash his Holy Cross, which not only can pull you towards him, but damages the castle in the background. After that, he starts pulling out the sub-weapons, from the cross boomerang, to the axe, to the holy water. Several things make this fight stand out. First, this is a challenging fight, especially if you haven't leveled up. Second, the music. A combination of Don't Wait Until Night from the arcade game Haunted Castle and Heart of Fire from the original is my favorite boss theme in the game. And finally, the sheer tension of this fight. You're fighting a member of the legendary Belmont clan, and it's like fighting a version of yourself that's 56 years old and every bit as badass, if not more. It's a clash of equals, much like the fight with Rundus from Metroid Prime 3. Which is why I'm glad we didn't have to kill Julius. Which leads to our number 2. Once Julius surrenders and lets Soma go, Soma enters the Chaotic Realm, which looks like a black and white remix of areas you've visited before. Eventually, you come to the end, and after Soma receives some words of encouragement from his friends, Soma enters the portal. And you thought the setup for the Succubus battle was friggin' messed up. The final battle of Aria of Sorrow is literally against Chaos itself, and it certainly lives up to its name. As the fight begins, all of the souls you've gathered are taken away from you, and the only way to get them back is by force. All the while, you need to dodge the attacks of the three heads. The head with the red sphere that took your bullet souls will attack you with crystals that can be destroyed. The head with the blue sphere that took your guardian souls will occasionally rush at you. And the head with the yellow sphere that took your enchanted souls will sap your magic points. As you destroy the heads one by one, you will get all your gathered souls back. But you're still not done. In the second phase of the fight, your target is the Black Core, but it's got really high defenses. On top of that, it will shoot out small electrical orbs that slowly home in on you, a gigantic skeleton snake that circles the room and shoots a larger orb, and rings of spikes that shoot in sequence. Your best shot to win is to weaken the core's defenses by destroying the eyes on the sides of the room. This is a wonderful final battle. It's challenging, though not as much as Julius. The imagery is appropriately disturbing, and the music in both phases signifies a desperate struggle against fate, which is actually what this battle is. Soma is fighting against not only Chaos, but against his destiny. And if he loses... So yeah, this battle is excellent, but there is one that manages to top even this. Okay, one more boss to go, but first we gotta recap. Number 15, Big-Lipped Alligator Moment. Number 14, Number 13, still not cooler than Aeon. Number 12, I'm getting dizzy here! Number 11, burn, baby! Number 10, Nightmare Mindfuck. Number 9, can you dig it? Number 8, Number 7, Nissan! Number 6, this guy's optional for a reason, you know. Number 5, why you no stay dead? Number 4, oh, that's why. Number 3, Chuck Norris? Who's that? And number 2, the fight for Soma's fate. My number 1 Castlevania boss fight combines tension, atmosphere, music, and challenge into a boss fight that is complete, satisfying, and nothing short of brilliant. It is the final battle of Castlevania 2 Simon's... Wait a minute.
Okay, who jacked my script? Terramay!
Thanks, Dio. No, my number 1 actually comes from Portrait of Ruin. To many, this is the weakest of the 3 titles for the DS, but it cannot be denied that its final battle is truly magnificent. Alright, time to take down Dracula. Like I haven't seen this before. Here we are, throne room. Die, monster, etc, etc. Wait, Death's here? So what, I'm fighting him first? What? I'm fighting both of them? Oh yeah. It's on! The fight with Dracula and Death is truly a spectacle. The fact that you're fighting the series' 2 most iconic antagonists at once is big enough, and the fight exceeds all expectations. Dracula will assault you with fireballs and orbs of dark energy, and occasionally change into a swarm of bats to rush you. All the while, Death is dive-bombing you with his scythe. Not only that, but they have some devastating combined attacks. For one of them, Death creates a metric crap ton of sickles while Dracula absorbs them to unleash a storm of dark spheres. For the second, they summon a giant scythe which slams into the ground near Dracula to create a gigantic explosion. And once one of their health meters is drained, Dracula absorbs Death's power to become true Dracula. This final form will slam into the ground to attack, try to ram you, and occasionally throw scythes and fireballs at you. And when he moves to the background, he'll try to crush you from the sides with his gigantic wings, and you have to knock them back before they crush you. This is an amazing battle. It's challenging, utilizing the 2 biggest bosses in the series, and it truly excels. It forces you to utilize your partner skills to survive, and your own skills are truly tested as well. Another thing? The music. Awesome! Overall, this is the total package. It's challenging, atmospheric, and definitely worthy of being the greatest battle in the Castlevania series. And thus, my Halloween special comes to an end. It's kind of interesting if you think about what Castlevania has truly come to represent. At its core, I believe the series has come to represent the spiritual struggle of mankind. Just as Dracula rises time and time again, our own dark instincts and desires seek to destroy us from within. Just as the Belmont clan fights evil century after century, we must look at ourselves to truly decide what is right when others would steer us wrong. It's symbolism like this that has helped make Castlevania what it truly is.
I'm the quarter guy, and you must always remember that the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing.